Transition from a research proposal to a research project in mass communication. For students studying mass communication, moving from a research proposal to a research project is an important academic step. Many students, they confuse the two, but they're different. A proposal is a plan, while a research project is the actual study that is completed after the proposal is approved. So this discussion, in this video, we're going to explain what a research project is, what a senior research project is, the transition from proposal to project, what changes from proposal to project, the components of a research project, chapter outline of a research project, and examples in mass communication. Now, the explanation uses very simple language, simple English, easy to understand English. Now, what is a research proposal? A research proposal is a document that explains what the student plans to study, why the study is important, and how the research will be conducted. In simple words, a research proposal is a research plan. It is written before the actual research begins. Example of a proposal topic: the influence of TikTok on political awareness among university students. In the proposal, the student only explains the problem, the objectives, the questions, and the methods to be used. At this stage, the research has not yet been carried out. So what is a research project? A research project is the actual study conducted after the proposal has been approved. It involves collecting data, analyzing information, discussing findings, drawing conclusions. In simple terms, a research project is the completed research study. For example, after approval of the proposal on TikTok and political awareness, the student distributes questionnaires, interviews students, collects data, analyzes results, then writes findings and conclusions. That becomes the research project. So what is a senior research project? A senior research project is a major academic research study completed by students in their final year of study. Let me repeat that again. A senior research project is a major academic research study completed by students in their final year of study. It is usually a graduation requirement, an independent research supervised by a lecturer. So what is the purpose of a senior research project? It helps students apply research skills learned in class. It helps students solve real communication problems. It helps students demonstrate academic understanding. It helps students prepare for professional careers. And an example of a senior research project in mass communication is the effects of fake news, for instance, on public trust in online media in Kenya. The effects of fake news on public trust in online media in Kenya. Now, the student may study online news audiences, interview journalists, analyze social media trends, suggest solutions to fake news problems. That is part of the senior research project. Okay? So, the transition from a research proposal to a research project. How does this transition happen? The transition means moving from planning the study to conducting the actual study. This happens after the proposal is approved by the supervisor or university. So what changes from proposal to research project? There are several important changes that occur. The study moves from planning to action. In the proposal, the student explains, I will collect data using questionnaires. In the research project, the student actually distributes questionnaires, collects responses, and analyzes the data. Then the new chapters are added. In the research project, there are new chapters that are added. A proposal usually ends at chapter 3. A research project continues up to chapter 5. The proposal chapters are introduction, literature review, and methodology. Three chapters. But with the research project chapters, it is 1 introduction, literature review, methodology, data analysis and findings, and summary, conclusions, and recommendations. 1 is introduction, 2 is literature review, 3 is methodology, 4 is data analysis and findings, and 5 is summary, conclusion, and recommendations. Then there is the data collection that takes place in the proposal. The student only explains how data will be collected. The data collection takes place in the proposal by the student only explaining how the data will be collected. The word there is will be collected. In the research project, real data is collected from participants. Example, a student researching radio audiences may interview listeners, observe radio programs, and conduct surveys. Number 4 is results and findings are included. That's another difference. The other change from proposal to research project is that results and findings are included. The proposal does not contain findings because research has not yet been done. The research project includes tables, graphs, percentages, themes, and interpretations. For example, a study may find that 75% of students use TikTok for news. Many students cannot identify fake news. Those are findings. Again, what is added in the research project is conclusions and recommendations. These are added. The project explains what the findings mean, the solutions to the problem, the suggestions for future research. And an example of a recommendation is universities should teach media literacy skills to help students identify misinformation online. Now let's look at the senior research project in detail, a detailed discussion of a senior research project. A senior research project is usually the largest academic work done by undergraduate students. It requires independent thinking. It requires research skills. It requires time management. It requires academic writing. The characteristics of a senior research project. A good senior research project should be original, organized, clear, research-based, and relevant to society. The areas of research in mass communication. Students may research topics such as journalism, broadcasting, public relations, advertising, social media, political communication, development communication, film and television, digital communication. Examples of senior research topics: the role of community radio in promoting public health, effects of social media influencers on consumer behavior, the impact of citizen journalism on traditional media, the use of Facebook in political campaigns, challenges facing television journalism in the digital age. So what are the components of a senior research project? A research project normally contains the following sections. Number 1, title page. Number 2, abstract. Number 3, acknowledgement. Number 4, table of contents. Number 5, chapter 1, which is the introduction. Number 6, chapter 2, which is the literature review. Number 7, chapter 3, which is research and methodology. Number 8 is chapter 4, which is data analysis and findings. Number 9 is chapter 5, which is summary, conclusion, and recommendations. And number 10 is references. Number 11, appendices. Chapter 1 is the introduction. This chapter introduces the study. The components of chapter 1 is number 1, background of the study. It explains the history of the problem, the current situation, and why the topic matters. Example is social media platforms have been major sources of information among young people. However, fake news and misinformation continue to spread rapidly online. Number 2 is statement of the problem. The second component of chapter 1 is statement of the problem. It explains the exact issue being investigated. For example, many university students rely on unverified social media information which may influence public opinion negatively. Number 3 is objectives of the study. It explains what the researcher wants to achieve. For example, the general objective is to examine the effects of social media on news consumption among university students. The specific objectives will be to identify commonly used social media platforms, to examine trust in online news, to investigate challenges of fake news. This is just an example, but these objectives can be made smarter. Then we have research questions. These are the questions the study seeks to answer. Then examples is which social media platforms are most used for news? How does social media affect trust in news? So then we have the significance of the study. It explains who benefits from the study. The study, for example, you can say the study may benefit journalists, students, media organizations, policymakers. Then we have scope of the study. It explains the boundaries of the study. For example, the study focuses on university students in Nairobi County. That is the scope of the study, the boundaries of the study. Then we have chapter 2, which is the literature review. This chapter discusses previous studies related to the topic. The components of chapter 2, 1 is review of previous studies. The researcher discusses what other researchers found, similar studies, existing knowledge. For example, a researcher may review studies about social media use online journalism, fake news. Then we have the second component, literature review, is theoretical framework. It explains the theory guiding the study. Example theory is uses and gratification theory. This theory says people use media to satisfy needs such as information, entertainment, social interaction. Then we have the third component in literature review is the research gap. It explains what previous studies failed to address. Example, previous studies focused on adults generally, but few studies examine university students specifically. Then we have chapter 3 is the research methodology. This chapter explains how the research was conducted. The components of chapter 3 is 1. Research design, the overall plan of the study. Example, descriptive survey design. Number 2 is target population, the group being studied. Example, university students in Nairobi County. Number 3 is sampling techniques, the methods used to select participants. Example is random sampling was used to select 100 students. Number 4 is data collection methods, the tools used to collect information. Examples, questionnaires, interviews, focus groups, observation. Number 5 is data analysis method. It explains how data was analyzed. For example, percentages, tables, graphs, themes. Number 6 is ethical considerations. It explains how participants were protected. Example, confidentiality, consent, privacy, protection. Chapter 4 is data analysis and findings. This chapter presents the research results. What is included? Tables, charts, graphs, interpretations, discussions. Example findings. Social media platform percentage. TikTok 45%. Instagram 30%, Facebook 15%, Twitter 10%. So that is an example of findings. Interpretation example is the findings show that TikTok is the most popular platform for news consumption among students. Then we have chapter 5, which is the summary, conclusion, and recommendations. This is the final chapter. The components are 1. The summary of findings, brief explanation of major results. Example, most students rely on social media for news and are exposed to fake news regularly. Number 2 is conclusion, the final interpretation of the study. Social media plays a major role in shaping public opinion among university students. And number 3 is recommendations, suggestions for improvement. Example, universities should teach media literacy. Journalists should improve fact-checking. Social media companies should reduce misinformation. And what are the suggestions for further? And the fourth component is suggestion for further research. These are areas future researchers can study. Example, future studies should examine the influence of artificial intelligence on online journalism. So other important sections of a research project include the abstract. An abstract is a short summary of the entire study. Usually it includes problem, objectives, methods, findings, and conclusions. Then there's the acknowledgement. That is the student thanks the supervisors, the family, friends, participants. Then we have references. This is list of all sources used. And then we have appendices. These are extra materials such as questionnaires, interview guides, and consent forms. Then the conclusion. The transition from a research proposal. We are concluding this discussion. This video, the transition from research proposal to research project. The transition from a research proposal to research project is the movement from planning research to carrying out the actual study. So for students in mass communication, the senior research project is very important because it helps them apply classroom knowledge, develop research skills, solve communication problems, prepare for professional careers. A good research project should follow proper academic structure, use clear research methods, present accurate findings, give practical recommendations. Research in mass communication helps society better understand media influence, journalism, social media, public relations, advertising, communication behavior. Thank you for watching this video lesson. I hope you've learned a thing or two. Please watch this video again and again and again to internalize the concepts, all right? Thank you, and please subscribe to my YouTube channel if you've not done so. And share this video with all your friends, with all students, with anybody who might find this content useful. Thank you.